What is Jungkook hiding from his family? Why did an idol of his class choose to be silent for years, then suddenly explode with a confession that shook everyone? And why is he now avoiding anyone related to his father? BTS's Jungkook shies away from family and media. What's really going on? What could make a man who all along seemed strong, smiling in every camera spotlight, suddenly withdraw from the world, choose military silence, and decide to avoid anyone, not even his own family? This question hangs over the minds of millions of soldiers around the world, especially when shocking news begins to spread. Jungkook, the golden meanie of BTS, is keeping a big secret about his family. A secret that had never been expected, never imagined, and that, in silence, had been a burden on his chest. We know Jungkook as a dedicated figure who always runs faster than time to give the best for his fans. But behind the gleam of the stage spotlight and the millions of smiles he displayed, who knew that there were old wounds that hadn't healed yet? Whether the real reason he decided to be more active in the military was not just a matter of state duty, but fugitives? Question after question began to emerge after a shocking confession came from an inside source close to the idol. Jungkook, who is known to be very secretive about his personal affairs, finally opened a little gap, a small door that shows how deep his wounds are. I chose to go because I don't want to see his face. Even his voice makes me want to run as far as possible, he said in a private military counseling session that was later leaked to internal media. Who does he mean? And why did Jungkook have to calm down in a place so far away from the hustle and bustle of the military world, which is usually where Korean men seek calm and order? The hint was further reinforced when a former BTS manager, who did not want to be named, delivered something thrilling. Since before his debut, Jungkook has brought Luka from home. Many do not know, even the other members do not know completely. She is very good at hiding tears. During this time, fans know Jungkook as someone who is very close to his family, especially with his mother. But did you know that there is an ever-widening gap between him and his father? In fact, on several occasions the family appeared behind the scenes, the father was almost never seen. Now that the shocking confession has surfaced, many are beginning to ask, what really happened between Jungkook and his father? Another source said that while filming his last project before enlistment, Jungkook looked moody and unfocused. Even during one of the choreography training sessions, he accidentally mentioned his father's name in a tone full of anger. He never saw me as a human being, just as investment, he said at that time, making the staff who heard him silent for a moment. I guess all this time the love he shows on screen is just a mask to cover the fragility he has kept since childhood? And if this is so, why is this secret revealed only now? A childhood friend finally spoke up after years of silence. Little Jungkook often hid behind the house, just to avoid his father's angry voice. Sometimes he just sits quietly, draws, sings quietly. But in his eyes, there was a fear that never went away, he said in an almost trembling voice. And even more surprising, the confession of a longtime vocal coach Jungkook, who said that Jungkook's soulful voice, born of trauma. Every time she sings, she feels like she's talking to her little self, the one who used to say nothing. Now that he has officially been drafted into the army, Jungkook's decision to cut off all media and public connections is no longer a mystery. He is in the process of healing himself, not only from the pressures of the entertainment world, but also from the deepest wounds he has hidden. And strangely, he didn't want any of his family members to come visit him, especially his father. Even the most painful question now begins to be asked by fans. Has Jungkook never been truly happy? Or more than that, has he only lived his life to meet the expectations of others, including his own family? An anonymous source from his family said that the relationship between Jungkook and his father cracked a long time ago, even before he debuted. They had a great argument when Jungkook chose to audition. The father wanted him to take the path of the family business, but Jungkook chose to dream. And therein lies the real conflict. A child's dream that clashes with the expectations of the family. The pressure to be someone in the eyes of the world, but losing the place to be yourself in your own home. When BTS finally reached the top of the world, Jungkook still did not return home. He chose to tour, perform, record, and keep himself busy. not just out of ambition, but out of fear of returning to a house full of bitter memories. Even when all the members post their return home, Jungkook only uploads photos of Twilight as if depicting his silent and shadowy heart. Now, when he is away from the spotlight, all those questions resurface. Why does Jungkook talk so little about his father? What happened to his childhood? And why, even after his success, does he still look sad? This story isn't just about a K-pop star who keeps a secret. It is about a boy who grows up in the shadow of family pressures, dreams, and wounds. And now, the world has finally seen another side of Jungkook, a side that has never appeared in a concert or a reality show, and perhaps, for the first time, we realize Jungkook is not just an idol. It's also human, and the wound he had is real. Are you ready to accept the truth behind Jungkook's smile? Or is it more convenient for you to believe that he is always happy? While many fans thought Jungkook was serving in the military as part of his state duty, not a few began to realize there are reasons far more personal, deeper, and more disturbing than just his obligations as a South Korean citizen. The military period is not just a career break, but runaway. And now, for the first time since his debut, Jungkook is taking a long break from all interactions with the world. Not only from the media and fans, but also from friends of one group, the managers, and even in the most bitter tone from his own family. When this news came out, many people asked, why would someone so compassionate, who loved his parents so much at the beginning of his career, suddenly break that bond? What's changed? Or did we ever really know who Jungkook was? One of the most heartbreaking moments occurred a few weeks before he officially entered the military. In a waiting room in the HYB building, Jungkook sat quietly, with earphones in his ears. But when a staff member accidentally played an old song, a song about dad, his body stiffened, his hands clenched, and he immediately stood up without a word. That's not anger. That's trauma, a distant family member contacted by The Independent said. Since childhood, Jungkook was not an easy child to read. But one thing we know for sure, he never felt truly accepted. Not for lack of love, but because the love that is given is always conditional. Was it conditional love that made him grow with invisible wounds? Amid his skyrocketing popularity, Jungkook still hides his past like a darkest secret. He always said, "I sing to calm myself down." However, now that everything has been revealed little by little, we are beginning to understand that her soft voice, her dance moves full of emotion, and the blank look at the end of the concert, it all comes from the same place, the pain he harbored since childhood. And of all the people he avoided, why was his father the one he stayed away from the most? Fans began to dig up old archives again. One of the old documentary videos shows 15-year-old Jungkook trying to hold back tears when asked about the house. Sometimes, home is not a comfortable place, he said quietly. Many thought it was just a teenage joke, but now, the sentence feels like an inner scream that has been silenced for years, and when he finally went into the military, instead of feeling far away from family like most people, Jungkook was seen more calm. A military colleague, who did not want to be named, said, he rarely spoke, but when asked about the family, he just smiled a little and said, "I'm healing something that I ignored for a long time." What really happened in Jungkook's house that he felt the need to heal himself? Now, amid endless speculation, fans can only wait. Will Jungkook really tell you everything? Or will this secret remain a part of him that will never be fully shared with the world? One psychologist who often deals with cases of young artists states that many children who grow up under the pressure of family perfectionism end up becoming perfect idols on the outside, but fragile on the inside. They learn to hide sadness with performance. They don't cry at home, they cry in songs, she said. And isn't that what we've been seeing from Jungkook? One by one, the facts began to emerge. It is known that before entering the military, Jungkook had asked management not to tell his family about his departure schedule. He wanted to leave. In silence, did I ask that a form of protest? Or maybe the only way he could feel free, more shockingly, in notes found from therapy sessions in the military which were leaked internally, Jungkook wrote, "If I have to go back and redo everything from the beginning, I just want to be a normal kid. Not what is expected to be everything. It doesn't have to be perfect." Is this the cry of a child who so far only wants to be loved unconditionally? And now, armies around the world can only ask in their hearts, is our love enough to heal wounds that even our own families cannot understand? Will Jungkook be able to find a home? Not. It was as if the heavens were breaking in silence. For some, it's just a simple phrase. But for those who truly loved Jungkook, it was the most honest cry he ever whispered. All his life, he created perfection for the sake of masking cracks. But now, the crack has finally opened, and we see the light and the wound that had been hidden behind her smile. The story of the father began to be the common thread of all the questions that hung over the years. But why does Jungkook never mention his father's name publicly, even when other members proudly praise their family's figure? Among the videotapes that fans have captured, there is one moment that was never a big highlight, but now feels like a very important piece of the puzzle. In a 2017 interview, Jungkook was seen smiling awkwardly when the interviewer asked, "Who is the first person you will hug if you win Daesang tonight?" Jungkook replied after a moment's silence, "My Hyung. No, Dad.
No, Mom.
Not family. Was it the first hint of distance that began to form? Then, as he began to compose his own songs, the lyrics began to cast a shadow of unspoken loss. In the song Still With You, many fans thought it was a song for the army, but some of the lyrics had a different interpretation. Behind the dim lights, I looked for your shadow, but you never really looked at me. What is meant not by lovers or fans, but his father, and day by day, those signs can no longer be ignored. A former high school teacher who used to teach Jungkook in Busan said in a local documentary, Jungkook was a good boy, but very introverted. When her friends brought their parents to school, she always came alone, or with her music teacher. I never saw his father. Is that where it all started? From a quiet childhood? From a hope that has never been conveyed directly, but feels stifling? According to a former HYB staff member, who now works as an independent vocal coach, Jungkook once uttered a phrase that left the room speechless. It happened at midnight practice, when everyone was exhausted and one coach said, "Think of the person you want to be the most proud of tonight." Jungkook was silent for a long time, then said, "I want to be proud of someone who might not even care." And that night, he sang with all his might. She cried when the song was over, and no one in the room had the courage to ask what he meant. Then, what really happened between Jungkook and the father? Based on internal information confirmed by two different sources, Jungkook's relationship with his father began to fray when he decided to audition for a musical. The father allegedly wanted Jungkook to pursue a traditional education and considered the entertainment world too risky. When Jungkook accepted and moved to Seoul, their relationship reportedly deteriorated. In fact, when BTS became popular and invited the family to big concerts, the father reportedly never once attended. Even more heartbreaking, as BTS celebrated their first global victory on Billboard and the other members received video messages from their families. Jungkook just smiled at the blank screen. No messages, no words, just silence. And perhaps since then, Jungkook has chosen silence. He learned to save. He loves people with all his heart because he knows what it's like to grow up without feeling enough. Now, when the military was supposed to be a time of reflection, Jungkook used it to heal. In one of the letters leaked by the military mental trainer, Jungkook wrote, "I want to be a man who is not afraid to talk about his injuries. Because I've been pretending for too long that I don't have any injuries." The phrase became the most frank confession of the quietest, most stable, and most pleasant known idol, but one thing makes it all the more bitter. News has recently spread that the father tried to contact HYB to deliver a letter to Jungkook. But, according to internal sources, Jungkook personally rejected the letter. It's not ready yet. He can't. And maybe he hasn't forgiven. Is this the end of their story? Or the beginning of a long-delayed reconciliation? Jungkook is now a symbol of strength and solitude. He represents millions of young people who grow up in a love that never ends. And behind all the fame and glory, he is just a human being who wants to be heard, understood, and embraced, not as an idol, but as a child. And now, the world must look at Jungkook with different eyes. Not just as Golden Magne, but as a human named John Jungkook, who finally has the courage to open a wound, to be healed.